I'm Alex Morash, and let's clear up the USA View. Families of Pulse victims renew questions about police response ahead of 10-year anniversary. 10 years after the Pulse nightclub massacre, some families of the victims are again questioning whether a faster police response could have saved lives. Christopher Drew Leinonen's mother, Christine Leinonen, alleges delays by law enforcement contributed to her son's death. Leinonen, who was 32 when he was killed, was reportedly shot 9 times during the attack. Asked whether her son could have survived if police had acted differently, Christine Leinonen said, quote, "Absolutely. My son was such a good human being. He finally met the man he was going to marry. It's just an injustice all the way around," end quote. Belinnette Ocasio-Capo, sister of victim Luis Omar Ocasio-Capo, also criticized the response, saying, quote, "Seeing the camera footage of police just on their phones chilling while my brother was literally bleeding out for over 30 minutes when they could have saved him," end quote. The Pulse nightclub shooting took place on June 12, 2016 at a Florida nightclub hosting a Latin-themed event. The attack killed 49 people and injured 58 others. More than 300 people were inside the venue when gunman Omar Mateen opened fire. He was later killed by police after a standoff lasting about 3 hours. A 2018 report on survivable wounds found that 16 victims died from injuries that may have been treatable. As the LGBTQ community prepares to mark the tragedy's 10-year anniversary, families continue to call for accountability while honoring the 49 lives lost. Well, yeah, this is one of those really difficult discussions because you have a few things going on. I want to just make sure that we're aware of you have one, did the police act fast enough, and then also I do want to acknowledge that it is this idea that good guy with gun will instantly solve problem, and that is not how it works. For those that don't know, there was actually an officer at Pulse at the time, Adam Groller. He was doing an extra shift at doing security, and he and 2 SWAT team officers very quickly tried to engage with them. But it's just a tactical disadvantage when you're not a suicidal maniac facing a suicidal maniac. And this is not the first time, Columbine, the officer engaged in the hallway with the 2 shooters. And in Dallas, just a month after Pulse, there was a shooter specifically targeting police. He killed 5, injured, I think, 9 others. They did not stop him with a gun. They put a bomb onto a robot and drove the bomb over. So a good guy with gun thing doesn't work. That being said, this is specifically accusing them of inaction, of waiting too long, which we did see accusations like that at Parkland and in Aurora. And it is a very hard topic. I try to remind people first and foremost, we can't expect the police to be superheroes. I can't stand that myth. At the same time, that does not mean police are completely without question, and this is a disturbing story.
And I think our culture is also inundated by the myth. I mean, we call some of these shows, we call propaganda. Because, on network television, every single network, ABC, CBS, doesn't matter. There's always a cop show. How long has SVU been around?
Mm-hmm.
Olivia Benson is supposed to solve every sex crime within an hour. And people who watch shows that they think that cops are just full of high-tech gadgets and ram through gates and perform heroics. But the truth is, they are people too. And I'm not excusing the cops. But when there's a crazy person, when there's one who is committed to extract as much damage as possible in a situation like this, I don't know if the delay is inevitable or is it unjustifiable. It's now 10 years, and unfortunately, we have other things to worry about. For example, the state, literally, Ron DeSantis is trying to erase our identity by erasing the Rainbow Cross rock that literally stand in front of the site as the sign is now coming down and the building is being demolished in favor of a permanent memorial.
Well, here's the question, though. If this attack didn't happen at a queer nightclub, but happened at a yacht club for rich old white men, would police have waited 3 hours? That, I think, is a very fair question.
I think police will also fear that he will kill more of the old white members.
And I know this might get some criticism, but if we've seen it happen, if an incident happened up north in Mar-a-Lago, it would be contained immediately. So, we have to look at, the reaction time, proper training, funding. I know there's some people, we have our upcoming event and Wilton Manors on the 20th. I personally support people being screened to go in. We've actually had people try to infiltrate the event last year. We certainly want to prevent any tragedies like this in the future.
No, I feel like the main reason, like I talked about, like the police security guard with the nightclub is like, I see a lot of people not even talk about Pride, because Pride they have more than one or two people.
Sure.
It's a whole big thing, and we can debate that later. But like, when I see some of the little queer bars that never seem to have any instances, to my knowledge, they'll have a security guard pat you down. People are like, well, they're doing that to prevent another pulse. I'm like, no, you really need to understand that that's not how you prevent another pulse. If you really, really want to prevent another pulse, you need to start banning weapons of mass destruction known as semi-automatic weapons. Like the fire rate that the gun in this particular shooting was able to fire, I think something like 50 clips and 50 bullets in like a small amount of time. Because I wrote about this when this first happened at the Washington Blade, and just like, you think about it, 300 people were there, and over 100, 1 out of 3 people was either killed or injured by that gunman. That gun was able to do that. If that kid was wielding a machete, first off, the officer would have been able to stop him. The security guard could have stopped the machete. But like a gun like that, that's so powerful that it overpowered 3 officers at the beginning.
And the thing is, as long as certain parties are in power, they are going to just keep dismantling these. Florida now, basically, you don't even need a permit to open carry or conceal carry. You can pretty much bring your gun anywhere, and you try to say that they're not welcome. They scream Second Amendment in your face and make threats. And currently, I think the legislature is trying to even remove the 3-day waiting period to purchase a gun. And then they try to weaken red flag laws. And this whole myth of like you say, the myth of the good guy with a gun doesn't track when you have people basically walking around like they're preparing for a shootout, OK Corral at any second.
Well, on the red flag law, the last year's Pride, it was a red flag incident. He was not supposed to have a gun because of the red flag law. So if that law gets repealed, would he have been... Would he have technically been within would he have been violating the law?
And I'm not a gun expert by any means. I have family up north who do carry, and they often ask why I don't, and that's a personal choice. But one has to ask, even in Florida, where we have, we're a red state, why somebody needs to have a super automatic gun that can, that's really meant for battle and not for everyday use.
Exactly. And hotheads, I say this as a hothead, I should not have a freaking firearm. Like, why are they, come on, no.
I think it's part of the thing is that, once again, our culture has taught us to be just super paranoid. There's a crime around every corner. We have news broadcasters basically like, oh, everything is crime written. I mean, someone with a gun is hiding every corner. Yeah. When people feel unsafe, they will grasp at every straw to make themselves feel safe, and some of them include, arming themselves for no good reason. Then you happen when someone trying to play ding dong ditch, and the old guy shows up with a gun and blasts through the door without looking because they're all very paranoid. Oh my God, there's someone is breaking down a door. It's not. It's a prank. Hell, someone shot up a car that was put up on the wrong driveway.
No, there's a lot of gunfire. The one thing I do want to make sure that we don't forget, because literally tomorrow is the 10-year anniversary, is those 49 victims that lost their lives and the others that were injured. Like, I don't know how it affected anyone else, but like when I remember that morning, and I lived in D.C. I didn't live down here. I didn't have a personal connection. I remember seeing that story reported, and I literally let out a shout of just terror. Because it affected me so much seeing our community attacked in such a way. Do you have experiences like that?
Yeah, I was in the New York area in New Jersey, and I remember feeling just disbelief and, wishing I could be there and do something, and just to feel, powerless. And it was one person who took out and affected all those lives.
And I was actually in Orlando. I was on the other end of Orlando where the mouse is. And I did not know anything that was happening. We were already long in bed before the event happened. We only heard about it when we literally got up and I start reading the news, and that is when that realization hits, and we were stunned into silence, and it was terrible tragedy. I actually wrote a little piece on Medium about it back in the day. Don't read, it's terrible.
Well, we could talk about this, and certainly, I don't know if there's a formal moment of silence tomorrow, but we certainly encourage people to put positive energy out there and thoughts that a tragedy like this doesn't happen again, and to give comfort to those who lost family or friends in this incident. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.